So today we're going to start off with our colour corrector. This is a makeup tutorial for mature skins as was requested. So I'm just taking that light yellowy shade and I'm taking really small amounts and I'm just applying that in around the eye area. This is just to neutralise any darkness I have in those areas. You're taking really small amounts each time, not to add too much product as this is quite thick. And you can always go back in for more if you need it. You can really see the difference there in both eyes, how much it has brightened the eye area. You want to use a nice fluffy brush to apply this. I started by my skin prep. I had this done prior to doing the tutorial. I will do a separate video on skincare. Now I go back in here with the green shade. You can use green in any areas of red on the skin. This will neutralise those areas. So I'm going to pop it onto any little spots that I have. And you can also pop this on your cheeks if you do suffer with red cheeks. I'm going now with the one Brow Cara. I'm just going to give my eyebrows a little brush. This comes in different shades, so you can get a shade that suits you. I use the dark one because I have dark hair. You can see even with just a little bit it does add some definition to the brows. Our main focus with this makeup today is to lift the face. I'm going to go in now with our brow powder. This can also be used as an eyeshadow. It comes with 3 shades and a little brush. I like to go in with the darkest shade and apply that. You want to start about 3/4 of the way into the brow and always start with the bottom and then work your way up. I like to get a nice shape on that arch. As you can see, I'm taking small amounts, applying it and then going back in for more as I need it. Nice light little strokes. When you go to the front of the brow, take whatever product is left, do not add more. Now we're just feathering that up through the front of the brow, not to add too much product. I turn the brush on its side there just to add little hair strokes upwards. And just keep working with that brow until you're happy with the desired shape. Makeup is all about time. You don't want to rush the process. So just take your time with it. And don't be afraid of the products either. If it doesn't work out, you can always wash it off and start again. This is definitely something you can sit down and practice yourself at home with a mirror. I like to take a clean brush then, just a small fluffy brush, and brush through the front of them brows just to lighten and give a ombre effect. We're going in next with our Age Defined Serum Boost Foundation and our Giordani Flat Top Kabuki Foundation Brush. I absolutely adore this foundation. Instead of wiping motions, I press the product into my skin. So you're constantly working this foundation into the skin and almost setting it before you get to any powder. It is a kind of a timely process. You just want to keep working the product in and covering all those areas. I find this very relaxing to do. You want to avoid that under eye area. We don't apply any foundation there as the skin is too thin. and foundation is too thick and heavy to apply to that area. So you're working on every area of the skin. I like to take whatever's left on the brush then and just brush it down my neck. You don't have to do this, but I love this shade of foundation and it's a tiny bit off colour for me. So I like to bring it down my neck and onto my chest just to make sure that it's all blended. You can see the difference there, where I have applied it and where I haven't applied it. This foundation is great. It is a medium buildable coverage, so you can wear it quite light if you like, or you can build up the cover. You don't want to have too heavy a foundation with mature skin. I find when the foundation is too heavy, you can really sit into any fine lines and wrinkles on the face. And I get a nice flat concealer brush here, and we're just going to carve out the top of those brows and clean up any little messes that we may have made. Just gives a nice defined shape to the brow. The brush I'm using for this is the Blank Canvas F17 brush. I have one in my own personal brushes and in my client brushes, and I'm just honestly obsessed with it. And go back in then and just press that foundation into the skin and make sure it's all blended out. I haven't cut out any areas of this video, so this is exactly how long it took me to do this look. So you just keep working that product into the skin until you're happy with the finish. I like to go back in then with my beauty blender and just make sure that it's completely blended out. As you can see, I didn't add any more product to the brush and just brought whatever is on the brush down onto my neck and chest. Next, we're going in with the Giordani Serum Boost Concealer. This is absolutely amazing for older skins or anyone who has fine lines and wrinkles around the eyes. You can see the way I'm lifting the eye there now with the concealer, so we're putting it up the way. And we're going to blend this in place. We're going to blend it up the way. So we're just going to push the product into where I put it. We're not going to do any swiping motions, just simply press the product in. And just lift that eye area and brighten it at the same time. Then any product that's left on the brush, I'm just taking that gently over the eye area itself. So we don't want too much product on the eye area. Less is more with older skin types. I find if you have too much product, the products are too heavy, they really set into any fine lines and wrinkles. Let's really press that in. Next, we're going in with the Styler Contour Sticks. This is the contour shade. These are a cream contour. You want to get your brush, find underneath your cheekbone, and you want to apply it over your cheekbone. This will give the face a nice lifted effect. And we're going to contour that double chin away. So you want to contour under the jawline, not on it, under it, and then do your light bulb in the center. I like to contour under my lips. You do not have to do this. And I also like to contour my forehead. Contouring the forehead will give a shadowed effect to the forehead. So if you're someone who has a bigger forehead and you want to make it seem smaller, you could contour like this. Similar with the nose. We want to make the nose seem narrow and smaller, so we will contour the sides of it. I'm going to push this product upwards. Make sure it's always upwards you're working. You want to give a nice definition to those cheekbones while also making the face appear lifted. Contour on the forehead is always blended back into the hairline. So I'm pressing and doing small circular motions with the brush. You just keep blending this until you're happy with your blend. With the nose contour, you can see I'm blending it down the sides of the nose. I like to go back and then with my foundation brush and blend that contour down onto my neck. Just want to make sure this is kept under that jawbone. If you apply your contour on the jawbone itself or a bit higher, it'll actually make your double chin look worse. So you just keep blending that until you're happy. Doing some funny faces in the process. And I go back in with my sponge and just give all them a second blend to make sure they're flawless. Next we're going in with our blush stick. I'm just going to do 3 lines up the way. We're applying this above where we applied that contour. And go back in with my sponge and blend that out. So you can see I'm keeping it quite high up around the eye while I'm blending. Constantly lifting the structures of the face. And next we're going in with our highlight stick. And we're going to highlight those high points of our face. I like to highlight under the brow bone, the tip of the nose, the bridge of the nose. And also on the forehead. When you're applying a highlight, make sure you don't go too close under the eyes. If you have any wrinkles in these areas, they will make them more prone. You can also avoid this step if you wish. I like to be glowing. See, I'm going back in here, blending my contour again. So I wasn't 100% happy with the blend. Next, we're going to go in with our loose setting powder. So you'll need your brush that you use for your concealer as well as the fluffy brush to set. Go back in and press down where you've set, because when you're moving your face around doing the rest of your makeup, you tend to get lines in the foundation sit into those. So we're just going to remove those lines and then we're going to set. You press that foundation in again, your concealer I should say, and then go back in. We're not doing any swiping motions, we are just simply pressing the powder into the skin. You can see the difference in both sides, how much it is brightened. Once you press with the concealer brush, now I didn't add anything onto the brush, you just simply press in where you've already done. You try not to move your face, your eyes, so that you can set it. I'm going to do the same on the forehead. I have quite deep lines on my forehead, so I'm just pressing and making sure that none of the foundation is set into those, and then going in with my powder and pressing it again to set. And then just take a small amount. If you have nasolabial folds on either side of your mouth, you can also press again to remove those, and then press your powder in to set. I don't take any extra powder on the brush when I do my neck and my chest. I just simply press what's left in the brush. I use a very small amount of powder to set the face. Next we're going in with our contour palette. We're just going to go over and define what we've done with the cream contour sticks. So we're taking that bronzer contour shade first, tap off the excess powder, and then you're going to hold the brush really far back and very lightly apply that to the skin. You always hold the brush really far back so you're not pressing too hard on the skin, and you're barely touching the brush on the skin and feathering it across. If you're too heavy-handed with the brush, this is where it can look muddy on the skin. So you want to be nice, gentle. Take small amounts and you can always build it up. I'm going to go back into the other side because I didn't add as much as I wanted. And I'm just going to add a bit more to match it to the other side. I'm just taking the excess that's left there on the brush and going back over the contour on my forehead. Next we're going in with our blush shade. Tap off the excess and apply some blush. So I'm barely touching the skin with this. Quite an easy, simple step to add the blush. And you can add as much or as little as you like. I quite like a duo fibre brush for applying my blush. I think this is a powder and pout brush that I'm using. I have it forever in my makeup bag. Next up I'm using a Nima brush. This is a small little fan brush which I apply my highlight with. And I'm just going to go back over the areas that I put on the cream highlight. I quite like to be shining from space, so I put a lot on. This is also optional, but it does give a nice glowy effect to the skin. Just be careful in around that eye area if you have any lines or wrinkles. You can always apply it just to the top of the cheeks rather than in around the eye like I have done. Now I'm going to go in with my Pro Makeup Setting Spray and just set all that in place. This is really refreshing and cooling on the skin, and it holds your makeup all day long. I'm going to do my lips while I'm letting my skin dry. This is the one lip liner. These are super creamy lip liners. I absolutely love them. They just glide onto the lips. You'd always apply a lip liner, especially for someone with mature skin. If there's any lines and wrinkles around the lips, if you go straight in with a lipstick, your lipstick can bleed into those lines and wrinkles and give you an older appearance. I like to apply the lip liner to my entire lip. I find it gives the lipstick a longer hold. You can always just wear this as the lipstick itself, but I will go in with a nice lipstick over top of this. So I'm going to use the Giordani Ochre Cream lipstick next. This is a really nice natural nude shade. Next we're going to move on to the eyes. We're going to do a nice simple eye look. I'm going to use a nice flat blending brush. And we're going to go in with our contour palette and use that contour shade into our eye socket. Tap off any excess and just really go in to where your eye socket is. We're just placing the colour at the minute. So we're taking the colour, tapping off the excess, and just small little window wiper motions and popping it right into the socket to get that desired shape. This just gives a bit of definition to the eye. And then we're taking whatever is left on the brush and just blending that out. So you're constantly going in, getting more product, putting it on the eye, blending, going back in and out. And as you can see, I'm holding the brush quite back towards the end. And what goes up must come down, so we'll always apply what we do on top to the bottom. I'm using a really, really light hand doing this. So you're barely touching the skin with the brush. Just keep going over and back until you're happy with the blend. I'm going to pop on and do the same to the other eye. I'm good with the highlight shade next, and I'm going to apply that all over my lid. This is a nice kind of goldy shimmer. And I like multi-use products. So you're getting an eyeshadow out of this palette as well as your contour, blush and highlight. Now you could leave your makeup like this for a nice daytime look, but I am going to go in with a darker shade and just darken it up a small bit, which can transform a daytime look into an evening look. So we're going to go back in with our eyebrow palette and use that center brown shade and a nice small little fluffy brush, and we're just going to pack that onto the outer corner of the eye. So you're just really pressing that product on to get the colour. And then once you're happy with the colour placement, very, very lightly take what's left in the brush and blend it into that highlight on the lid. And I'm taking the excess that's left in the brush underneath the eye, and then I'm going to go back in with some more just to darken it. So I'm just really pressing that product into exactly where I want it. Just the right outer corner of the eyelid. We're staying in the socket, we're not going above the socket with this colour. I'm going back in with the brush that I used for the contour shade brown that we first applied. I haven't put any product on this brush, I'm just simply going over what we have done and blending any harsh edges. Can't find what I want here. So I'm going to take a small angled eyebrow brush. This is one of the Oriflame brushes, and I'm going to go in with 2 shades from the eyebrow palette, and I'm just going to give myself a nice shadowed liner. I like to use a shadow liner on older clients. I find with a liquid liner, because the eye area is so delicate, if there's any little fine lines or wrinkles, it does tend to bleed into those. You can also use a cream liner. I'm just going to keep working that in until I'm happy with it. This This is just to darken up and give a little bit of extra definition to that lash line. As you can see, each step does take quite some time. And you just keep working with it until you're happy with how it looks. And go back in then, and just in that outer corner, blend that line into the dark shadow I had applied earlier. And go in next down to the other side. So you're constantly taking small amounts, popping it on, and going back in for more. It's all about building up that colour. Next we're going to go in with our false lash mascara. This is a 360 bendable wand. It's absolutely great the way it bends. I find it's a lot easier to get in to the root of those lashes. Just going to keep adding that until you're happy with how much you've added. Try not to poke your eye out like I did. If you do get any mascara on the skin, if you leave it completely dry, and then if you scrape it with your nail, it'll come straight off. Whereas if you rub it when it's wet, it will smudge. So any little bit you get in the skin, just leave it dry completely and then get a little scratch and it'll come off. And go back in now with my setting spray. Set that in place again. And this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed watching and you learned something from this video. I'm going to go back in then and just give my brows another little brush. They do tend to move when you apply powder and stuff, so I like to make sure they're put in place. And there we have it. Thanks for watching.